Welcome. I'm so glad that you have found us on the World Wide Web. Welcome to AdventistVoice.com. This website is here to help strengthen you in your journey with Christ, to draw you closer to Christ, to strengthen our church in these last days. And I want to talk to you for a moment about what it means to be a real Seventh-day Adventist Christian. You know, some believe that going to church once a week to study the Bible, to go to a church service, is all it takes to be a real Christian. But if you really think about it, that's only 2.5 to 3 hours each week. And then you have like the rest of the week for selfish, endeavors and selfish reasons. Of course, usually that's not the case, but usually it's self. Work, entertainment, family time, eating, sleeping, surfing the internet, vacations, etc., 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 all for self. So what does it mean to be a Seventh-day Adventist Christian in the 21st century? How are we as Seventh-day Adventist Christians impacting the world around us? Here's one way to think about it. God has placed you in your family, in your neighborhood, in your workplace, in your church for a missionary reason, for a reason other than yourself. If you are truly seeking first the kingdom of heaven and desire to be like Jesus, you will intentionally pray for divine appointments every single day. Why? Because you want to be like Jesus. Luke 19 verse 10 says, "For the Son of Man has come to seek and to save that which is lost." Once we are saved and being saved by the power of God, we will then become modern-day disciples, modern-day missionaries who are on call 24/7, 365 days a year. This means that we'll no longer seek to live lives for ourselves. So what does it mean to be a Seventh-day Adventist Christian? What does that life look like? Well, here are 4 lessons that we can learn from the life of Jesus. Number 1, Jesus denied himself worldly pleasures and comfort for a life of missionary sacrifice. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, sacrifice. 1 Peter 2:21 says, "For Christ also suffered on our behalf, leaving us an example that we should follow his steps." Number 2, Jesus spent time in personal study and prayer. He knew his Bible. He knew the Holy Scriptures. And he also knew that there was real power in prayer. Even though he was and is God, Jesus spent hours and hours in prayer, connecting to the source of power, and that's God in heaven. Number 3, even though Jesus didn't always connect well with the religious leaders of his day, he still attended church and got involved. Today, many of our church members, they sit on the sidelines as professional spectators for a variety of reasons. For instance, they don't like the way the pastor conducts his ministry. They don't like the elders or the deacons or other church members because they don't like the worship style, because someone offended them, because they weren't offered their favorite leadership position. We have got to stop messing around in our churches and get to work. If your church is dysfunctional, and there's a lot of dysfunctional churches out there, but if your church is dysfunctional and has no plan for local missions, then plan something yourself. And then invite others to get involved. And when people see that something is happening, that a God thing is happening in their church, they may get on board with you. Number 4, Jesus was always looking for ways to share his good news. Instead of hanging out with the religious leaders who had access to the truth, he found ways to mingle with those looking for hope. They hang out with those who were looking for acceptance and love. Being a Christian is more than just a one-day-a-week event. Being a true Christian who is filled with the Holy Spirit means getting out into the world and mingling with those who need Jesus. The question is, how are you going to accomplish the mission that God has given you? How are you going to find unique ways to befriend the unchurched, to befriend the lonely and the hopeless in the world around you? I want to encourage you to find ways to mingle. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Mingle, mingle, mingle. Volunteer. Volunteer in your local hospital, your local nursing home, your local volunteer fire department, the Boys and Girls Club. There are so many different ways to get out there and mingle within these volunteer organizations and nonprofit organizations in your community. How about joining an aerobics class at your local fitness gym? How about joining your local community choir or Rotary Club? There are so many ways to mingle with those in need of Jesus. From there, once you have begun to make new friends, and we definitely need to make new friends. I mean, if we've been hanging out with church members our whole life and we don't know how to get out there and meet new people who need Jesus, then we have got to step out of our comfort zone and make new friends for Jesus. And as we begin to make new friends for Jesus, we can then invite them into our homes for meals, for dinners, for other social events. And when the time is right, you can then invite them maybe to like a Bible study group in your home. You can invite them to a special church event at your local church. The most important thing that we can do as Seventh-day Adventist Christians living in these last days is to get out and mingle. Make new friends, but make them for the right reasons. If people love to hang out with us, and they see us as healthy Christians, they will eventually want what we have. They will want Jesus also. The time has come for us to shift gears and stop playing Christian. To shift gears and stop playing church. The world is in need of Jesus. The question is, what are you going to do about it?